happening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Final Third. Sam, aka FIFA Brit here, and I am joined by Mr. Brad Thomas. Now, before we get into it, we just want to say our third co-host, Mr. Betting the Pitch, has left Goal Boys. He's off on his own, and we wish him the best of luck. Unfortunately, he will no longer be joining us on this podcast, but we've told him he is more than welcome to come back as a guest, especially when Madrid are playing, because we need a little bit of Madrid bias in here. So we wish him the best of luck. We love you very much. But from now on, this is going to be a two-man show. Now, it's basically just been us for the past couple episodes anyway, so you guys are used to that by now. But yeah, two-man show, baby. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing good, man. If I haven't felt the urge or the excitement, the pent-up demand of getting major footy back, I'm feeling it now, man. Like, I've been doing the summer football series, and it's been making me itch and itch and itch for it to come back.
It might be a separate problem, Brad. You might have to go and see someone about that.
Yeah, I'm itching for the wrong reasons. Doctor, where you at?
Yeah, no, I am so excited. It feels like the day is finally here. You know, obviously this episode is going to go out on a Thursday, but we're recording on a Wednesday, which means that for us, the Super Cup is upcoming. You guys will already know the result by the time this airs, but it feels like this is like the beginning. This is really like, we've been eased into it. We had the championship last weekend, which was a lot of fun, and a bit of League Cup action to sort of tease us a little bit, and the Community Shield, which was actually kind of horrific in the grand scheme of things. There were no shots taken in that game. It was pretty abysmal.
Thank God for Doku, because that was my biggest bet. 2 shots was my biggest bet, and it paid for all of my other losers.
Love that. Hey, if it all evens out in the end. He was cooking. He actually looked exciting, which was good. So did Oscar Bob. Yeah. Who I think is going to be really good. I don't think City are going to be like bringing in a big money replacement to replace Alvarez. I really think Oscar Bob's just going to just slot right in there. And he had an assist, and I think he was technically the chalkiest guy for an assist in that Community Shield game, but he was still like 3-1. Like, yeah, it was like plus 300, plus 350.
Whole game too.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. I really think he's going to step it up. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. But yeah, the big leagues are finally back. Now I figured, Brad, we could go through each one, sort of briefly talk about, who we think is going to win, who's going to be in like Champions League spots, and then sort of go into the games this weekend. We have games this weekend. God, I'm so excited. How does that sound?
I'm really excited.
Beautiful. Well, let's get down to it. Let's talk about the one that, I'm most excited for because I'm biased. But let's talk about the Premier League. I feel like most people are interested in the Premier League. But if you're one of those guys who likes the other leagues as well, or if you think you're cool by hating on the Prem, then don't worry. We'll get to those leagues too. Don't worry. We'll get there. But we're going to start with the Prem. So let's talk winners, shall we? Shall we get right down to it?
Yep.
I've got my shirt on. Obviously, no one can tell my bias. I keep it very well hidden that I am, in fact, an Arsenal fan, but...
So well hidden. I had no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody knows. Now, I'll tell you what, Mark, what makes this interesting, because it feels like it's going to come down to City and Arsenal unless somebody else really steps up, or City or Arsenal really fumble the bag somehow. But there is a big shadow looming over City's season. The financial charges case is finally coming up this season. Apparently, it's going to begin in the next couple of weeks. And they've said, the Premier League has said they expect a verdict by the beginning of 2025, the calendar year, not the season. So that it's really hard to not think about that. Like, we can talk about how good City are all day, but it's kind of hard to talk about how well you think they're going to do this season when, anything could happen. I think realistically speaking, they got a nice little slap on the wrist and maybe a little bit of a financial fine. I hope that doesn't happen, because you could fine them millions and it would make no difference. But, and we talked about this when the markets opened up. Very interestingly, Man City are solidly middle of the pack when it comes to the relegation odds. Teams like Arsenal, for example, have never been relegated from the top flight ever since they got there. And if you look on 365, they're priced at like 2,000 to 1 to be relegated, whereas City are priced at 15 to 1. Like alongside teams like, I don't know, like Palace, or even I think Palace might even be less likely to get relegated according to the odds. So, what do you think about that? Because I think it makes it sort of, interesting, not necessarily difficult. I mean, it is a little bit difficult, but it makes it interesting to talk about City because there's such a massive unknown about what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think what's funny is I'm actually that's the next preview that I'm releasing for NBC, and I've been doing extensive research on the possible verdict, possible outcomes, and no one is giving me any guidance of what they think is going to happen, which is crazy.
Right.
It's funny because like when we think about point deductions, like I went back and looked at some of the most harsh ones. Like we haven't had a massive point deduction since I think 08, 09, which was
what is that?
I know this is all English football.
Yeah.
I believe it was championship. I think it was. Oh my
I'm trying to remember.
Luton was that 08, 09? Was Luton
about
08, 09? Or was that 02, 03?
I don't know. That was about 08 was about the time I moved to America, so I had other things going on in my life.
Yeah, I think that was 30-point deduction.
Interesting.
Okay. And that was in the championship, the EFL. And I just went back and then I looked at Premier Leagues and like I just feel like this precedent they're gonna set here, they have a chance to change the landscape of football.
Yeah, but because this number, the extent of their charges is unprecedented. No team has, the Premier League has been digging into this for, a decade's worth of research. And then, I mean, I remember a couple of years ago when the whole thing dropped and we were all just like, oh shit, we fucking knew it, you dirty bastards. We knew you were fucked up. We all knew you were cheating.
Dude, what's crazy about it too is like if you go down and you look at the breakdown of charges, it literally stems to direct success of the club.
Yep.
They won their second title ever in 2011, 2012 season. That's when the first scandal happened, the first breach happened. And then you just look, and I was like, as they progressively, then they went like 2 years before they won another one. Then there's another charge there. Then boom, 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 boom. They win. Charge. It could be a coincidence, but my money tells me it's not.
Yeah, and you know what pisses me off? It's hilarious because you see all these City fans talking about how even Pep, and because people on Twitter are going to talk shit. We know that. I do it. But like, you see City fans on Twitter just sort of bragging about how their net spend over the last 5 years, they're like middle of the pack, and they're like, oh, when City spend big, it's a big problem. But like Arsenal are spending big, and no one bats an eye. Even Pep in an interview very recently said, oh, why is it such a big deal when City spend big? Arsenal are spending big this summer. And it's like, I'm sorry, who have Arsenal bought this summer? We've spent 27 million on a goalkeeper that we already had on loan, and we've spent 30 million on a defender. That's 57 million. We haven't even bought Marino yet. And even if we did, it would be under 100 million total. And it's just like, the only reason City's net spend over the last 5 years looks so good is because they built a fucking $1 billion squad before that. Yep. And then they just kept selling off assets. Now I'll give them a bit of credit for stuff like Julian Alvarez. They bought Julian Alvarez for what, like 20 million, and just flipped him 2 years later for 85. That's very good business. Like, fair play. I'll give you that. That one's probably not illegal, but it just pisses me off because it's just like so clearly, the charges only ended, like the charges ended in like 2018. Like, this is stuff that they did to build themselves up. Yeah. To put themselves in such a fantastic position, which then clearly enabled them to not have to spend massively every single window. They would just like replace what needed replacing. Like Pep had an incredibly old back line. Like, think about only 4 or 5 years ago when the back line was like Company and Zabaleta and Clichy and stuff like that, and like those guys got old and moved on, and then Pep literally spent like 300 million bringing in Stones, bringing in Ake, bringing in Akanji, he had a whole summer where he only signed defenders, and because that's all he had to replace at that point, everything else was fine. And then it's remarkable because all their charges from that point, from 2018 onwards, aren't anything financial. It's them not allowing the Premier League to investigate. It's literally just like, oh, failure to, provide evidence. It's just like, oh, is that what innocent people do? Don't comply with investigations. You don't want to be like, oh, please take a look at my books. Everything is fine. You have to be like, nope, you're not allowed. And we swear we're innocent. Like, fuck off. Anyway, not to get too bogged down into the Man City charge scandal, otherwise people never get round to everything. But at the end of the day, it's just like, it's kind of hard to talk about how you think they're going to do. I mean, I still think they're going to be great. Mathematically speaking, they will probably be top of the league. Probably. Before any points deductions come into play.
Yeah. It's hard, right? Like, I think Arsenal win the league here, but if we're talking about like betting, like that's when you separate yourself. Do I think that there's more value on Arsenal at plus, let's say 150 versus Manchester City at plus 140? No. And that's when you start have to asking yourself, like,
and you can't even take winner because Bet365 offers like winner without Man City. The same way they offer like golden boot without Haaland. And if you want Arsenal to come in like the top two, it's like minus 200. It's just like not worth it,
It's
there's no real brilliant way to approach it. So from a betting perspective, all of this really boils down to if you're betting on a winner for the EPL, good luck.
I ended up losing money last year betting on the winner of the EPL because I bet City and then I took Liverpool at plus 550 and I was like, I didn't lose money. I won like 0.2 units, but that's money for having it held that long, And like, I don't want to do that again. Like, I don't want to take City. I don't want to take Arsenal and then be like, well, then I can't take anyone else.
Right. Yeah, that's fair because the odds aren't brilliant.
No.
It's not a fun. Yeah, the odds aren't brilliant, which makes it a bit unfortunate.
I think, but I do think Arsenal win the league.
Brilliant.
Planting my flag there. We've started to see some a switch of the defensive guard, right? It was always you couldn't score on City. And that was home or away. And slowly you've started to see that narrative's change. You can't score on Arsenal home or away.
Yeah.
As long as Arsenal continue to be that, I think they led the Premier League in goals conceded in total, but more impressively on the road was better than City's. As long as that continues, they'll pick up those much needed points. Yeah. This Arsenal team's getting deeper, getting stronger, getting healthier. Knock on wood, because
the depth is so huge.
James got hurt, so
the depth is massive because Timber obviously last season played in the Community Shield and he played the first half of our first game of the season. And then he got injured in the second half, came off, and then was done for the season.
Yep.
And the problem is that meant our next left back was Zinchenko, who is good going forward, but not brilliant defensively, to the point where it was incredibly profitable to take first half shots, goals, and assists for whoever was playing right wing against Arsenal if Zinchenko was starting at left back, because he's so easy to cook defensively. And then if it wasn't him, it was Kivior. Or we had Tomiyasu, who was also out for most of the season, playing at left back, and Ben White would play at right back. Now we have Calafiori, which is so much better. So now we have a solid 5 defenders. We've got Calafiori, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and Ben White. We have 5 defenders. 4 of them will play. And so if one of them does happen to get hurt, like Timber's obviously not 100% fit, he had a very serious injury and he's slowly getting back to full match fitness. He's got a few minutes in preseason, which is good, but we're taking it slow with him. But at least if one of them isn't available, we have 4, we have a Premier League winning standard quality back 4. We don't have to rely on Kivior, who is a natural centre-back playing at left-back, or Tomiyasu, who is a right-back playing at left-back, or Zinchenko, who is a left-back but shit at it.
Yep.
Which is nice. That makes a huge difference. And hopefully we bring in Marino. Marino is supposed to be coming in. It's not wrapped up yet. It's taking a while, but the Calafiori deal took a long time because Arsenal take forever to negotiate the structure of deals. Why, I don't know, but as long as we get it across the line, I don't really mind. I'm more than happy to sort of set our sights on a guy. And if it takes a month to complete, then so be it, as long as we actually get it done. And then really, I would like another signing, but another defender and a centre mid are really what we absolutely needed for starting and for depth quality. So I'd be happy if it was just those two, but a third signing, preferably an attacker, would be nice to have.
Yeah.
But Havertz has been fine, you know. Havertz as a striker has been great. And, you know, I think Jesus works just fine as a backup at right wing for Saka. If Saka needs a rest, he would, you know, Jesus was a right wing sub for Man City when he was playing for Man City. He didn't really start at striker. Well, if he started, he would start at striker. But if he came on as a sub, he would come on as a right winger. So I'd be fine with that. Fabio Vieira is getting there. And we got Nonieri coming in as who can play on the wing or as a centre mid. So, you know, the squad looks promising and we have the depth. So I think we can, you know, I think we should be challenging City. And at the end of the day, I don't want to, if we are going to win the league, which I do think we can do, I don't want it to be because City lost points. Don't get me wrong, I'll take it. Like, I'm not fussy. Arsenal haven't won the league since 2004. So I'll take what we get, but you just know people are going to not take it seriously if we win because of a City points deduction.
Yep. I agree there.
Would be a bummer. Let's talk about some games. We've talked about Arsenal and City. We'll do Arsenal. Arsenal play on Saturday, and they start at home against Wolves. Now, I'm not really sold on this Wolves squad, although I am excited to see how I believe they signed Jonathan Strand-Larsen from, I don't know who he played for in the Liga. I think it was Celta Vigo, but maybe that's Aspas. I think I forgot. I remember who he played for, but he's decent. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is a bit of unfortunate from a betting perspective because Arsenal are priced at like minus 500 on the money line. And I don't know if FanDuel has listed the shots market at the time of recording, but I know they're going to be shit. But if they aren't,
they're going to be so bad.
If they aren't, I'm taking Saka. I'll take Saka for 3 first half shots, baby. He's back. He's mad. He wants to score.
They're going to be so bad. I was projecting this to be pretty bad. I did take a parlay, but I took Arsenal -1 in my parlay.
Nice.
It's funny though because this Arsenal game, the spreads inside it are what are moving the most. -1's already -3. Holy shoot! It's already -360.
Ew, that's gross.
Oh my gosh! It was like was it -280 when I gave that out? I didn't give that out that long ago.
Still haven't listed the shots market. It's Wednesday. Well, they should all be listed by tomorrow.
So I imagine by the time this show comes out, by the time I give this out on Bet US, it'll probably be down to -380 for that parlay piece, which then it's probably not worth it. Then you're just better off just sitting out.
Yeah. It's a bummer. This is the one downside of recording on a Wednesday is we have shots props for the early kickoff on Saturday on FanDuel and the Friday game, but we don't have it for the rest of the weekend. So it's a bummer. But if Saka is listed for 2 first half shots above even money, I'm probably taking that. And if he's listed above plus 300 for the 3 first half shots, that's also really nice too. That's about what I'd aim for. So that's it.
Let's see what his baseline. His baseline is 4 shots pre-game.
Fuck. Okay. So even money for 2 in the first half could be okay.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that's really aggressive in the first half. So that's, you know, I don't mind taking the first half there versus a full game.
I like Kai Havertz shots in this game. That number sucks too. Wow.
Yeah, that's the problem. We have so many guys that can shoot. You know, if it's not Havertz, I mean, Havertz was shooting a ton for Germany at the Euros, which was a beautiful little.
Bro, he was shooting a ton for you guys late last season too.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. I'll wait for the lines. That'd be nice. And then, as we're talking about City, Chelsea Man City on Sunday is going to be an absolute banger.
Yes.
Because I mean, I'm not even sure if Rodri is back. I mean, I think he might be in training now, but he wasn't in the Community Shield. And, you know, Rodri, Stones, Foden, and Walker are the guys from the Euros that missed the Community Shield, and I'm not sure if they're going to play against Chelsea. So if City are running out of sort of a budget lineup, then especially sort of in that midfield, then give me Cole Palmer shots all day, every day.
Wow, the last update we got for Rodri was on the 9th.
Oh, Oh, that's gross.
So we're not gonna have any idea because I don't think they're gonna give another update until Thursday.
Yeah. And you know how Pep is. Pep will lie. He'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
these players are not available. And then they'll turn up. That was more of an Arsene Wenger accent, which I'm more
I'm
used to
tracking
doing.
his injury though because this is important. Like
Hmm.
no Rodri.
No Roger, no party.
Yeah, exactly. I just put on the tracker for that. So when Pep opens his mouth about him, we'll hear it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this game was a 4-4 banger back in, I
Yeah.
think it was around December or so last year when City were in that little stretch of not being able to win. But Cole Palmer turned up, and I mean, God knows what it's going to be like trying to predict these Chelsea starting lineups. But I would hope Cole Palmer is a regular feature. I know they've basically got a fucking NFL roster at this point,
Yeah, they
which
do.
is ridiculous.
Massive.
But I would hope that Cole Palmer is at least some sort of stable fixture in this starting 11 for Chelsea. You would hope so, having just given him a new contract.
Yep. I think he is. And so I was just trying to do some quick guesswork of what would happen with this lineup. I think Palmer will start at the 10.
That'd be
You
nice.
got Noni out on the right, which means Nkunku. Okay, there's two possibilities. Nkunku on the left or Nkunku in the false nine. But I don't think when they tried him in preseason, I don't think trying him on the 9 worked.
No, I think he's playing the 10. I think Nkunku at the 10 and Palmer at the right wing with Madueke on the left wing.
Madueke on the left.
Yeah, I think so. That's where he's been playing. More recently he's been playing on the left wing, which doesn't really make sense because you would expect him as a right winger to cut it on his left foot, which is how he was playing. That's how he was playing most of last season, but in preseason he's been playing much more on the left-hand side, and he's still been playing fairly well.
They've been switching their lineup so much. I'm trying to figure the most important part of this.
No, they have fucking Pedro Neto who could start at left wing.
Yeah, now Pedro Neto's in. The most important part about their lineup for me is where Cole Palmer is.
Yeah, I'm assuming Cole Palmer will play on the right wing.
On the right with
Nkunku at the 10, and then probably Jackson up top. Probably.
You have to. I think you have to. I think the experiment of Nkunku at the 9 was like 2 games.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, he can score, and he's a guy you need on the field. So I don't think it would be awful to have him as the striker and Cole Palmer right behind him in the attacking mid slot. It's that's a very viable lineup. At which point, then you can do whatever you want with your wingers.
Yeah,
but we will see. I'm sure Chelsea are aware that this is a good time, especially at home, to strike while the iron's hot against a City side that may well be without 4 very good players that were just in the final of the Euros, a month ago. So we'll see. All depends how they line up, and God, I am begging for FanDuel Lions.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Let's see. What other games have we got going on in the Premier League? Well, why don't we talk about the opening day game, which is going to be on Friday. Man U against Fulham. Now, this one we do have shots lines on FanDuel, so I'm excited about that. I'll tell you something because I put a little spicy parlay together.
Okay.
And I did the exact same thing because Liverpool play on the Saturday early morning kickoff. And the problem with Liverpool is that it's almost impossible to predict out of Nunez or Salah who's going to be the one shooting if they're both in the starting line.
Exactly.
So I don't usually do this because I hate doubling down unnecessarily on exposure, but I typically just split whatever I was going to do and I play them both ways. On one way with Nunez, one way with Salah, because one of them's going to go off. And usually I would say Nunez, but Salah, I think Salah's in an aggressive mood. I think, having had a whole summer off, he's come back with his shaved head, and he looks like he's ready to go. So
he looks.
What I did was, now I'm not sure how Man U are going to line up, but I did see a report that Garnacho is going to start, and if that's the case, then I'm imagining he would start at left wing and Diallo would start at right wing.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure where that leaves Rashford, maybe playing as a striker, or maybe they stick him to the bench and they start Xerxes. Not exactly sure, but either way, if Garnacho starts, I do like his shots. And so I just, very simple 2-picker, Garnacho 3 first half shots, parlayed with Salah, and then also parlayed with Nunez for 3 first half shots. And With Nunez, that parlays to plus 1,700, and with Salah, it parlays to plus
Oh, yeah,
18.
because that's the Friday game. You already have that up.
Yeah. So that's the Friday game. And yeah, those are the only 2 games that we have shots props for as of recording. I'm hoping
Yeah, as a
by the
recording.
time this airs on Thursday morning, we'll have them all, because typically they start coming through on Wednesday, and then by Thursday we have everything ready to go. But yeah, Garnacho and Salah and Garnacho and Nunez, I put a quarter of a unit on each, so half a unit total. And that feels pretty spicy. Feels pretty spicy to me. You know, these are guys we know that love to shoot, and you know, Man U are playing at home, and you'd think, I know Man U gave up a lot of shots, but playing at home against Fulham, you really got to hope they're playing a bit aggressively here. And then, even though Ipswich are the home side against Liverpool, they are newly promoted, and you really just have to hope that Liverpool understand that they got to get the job done here.
I think they do. I think they did a great job with their hire. A manager who's won their league, a manager who has taken a team from with high expectations but low output to win the league in his, I think it was his second season. And a manager who understands control. I think that it's easy to say this stuff when Jurgen Klopp's gone, but I think at times Jurgen Klopp wanted to press so much and bring his defenders up so high up on the pitch. Sometimes he lost control of the match,
That's
and
fair.
I think that Sloot will, since he is pretty adamant about when they press, they're keeping their back line pretty traditional, not real high and not inverted. That will help them against these smaller teams, because that's what Liverpool's problem was they would end up getting so high up the pitch, and then you'd have a guy like TAA so high up they get beat on the counter, and now they're trying to fight from behind early in a match.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. I expect Liverpool to get the job done against Ipswich. I don't know if Man U beat Fulham, and that is a hilarious thing to say.
I don't either.
You would you would never say that about Man U at Old Trafford, you know, maybe even 2 or 3 years ago. But now you're just like, my God, I don't even know. And you know what sucks? Man U, I mean, I think apart from Sheffield, I think Man U had the second most shots conceded last season. I was really hoping we could get some decent value on Fulham team shots. No, it's like for them to take 20 shots, it's like maybe not even, it's only like not even 5-1. I think it's like around there. And it's just like, oh, that's so many shots. That's so many shots. So I think we might be kind of beat there, but it's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on.
And United are pretty banged up again defensively. Like, oh my God, they're starting with what, 6 defenders on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defenders in the treatment room on match day 1.
Yeah, they signed Lenny Yora and then immediately got hurt. Now they've brought in Delict, so they've got Delict, and
Delict won't be starting match day 1 though, right?
He might have to.
Yeah, he might. Yeah,
he might have to.
He might have to.
He only arrived this week, and he genuinely might have to start on Friday against Fulham, because who else have you got? 38-year-old Phil Jones. Oh yeah. Iwobi will have a field day.
My God,
Luke Shaw is hurt again. Like, what was the fucking point of bringing him to the Euros? And I say that as an England fan, and I sympathize with Man U fans, because he was out in February. I don't know. Well, now someone's buzzing me. Fuck off. He was out until February, and he got injured in February, and then Southgate was like, "Yeah, we'll bring him." Didn't play until the quarter, the semi-finals. He missed 4 games. Didn't start a game until, I genuinely don't think he started a game. Didn't start a game until the final. And now he's hurt again, and he's going to miss a month or so of Man U's season. Like, what was the point? We could have brought, and I don't think Trippier did like a brilliant job, but we could have brought someone else. You know. It's just, very, very frustrating as an England fan. And I feel for the Man U fans who have now, are going to miss out on more time with Luke Shaw, who is clearly like the first choice left back.
Yep. And I can't believe Luke Shaw's hurt again.
And now they're going to be, screwed without him. So assuming they've got, I'm not even sure who starts at left back at this point for Man U when Shaw is out. I did hear a rumor they were going to try and sign Chilwell, which I think is like a very perfect like for like. That'd be a good signing if they went. But Chilwell is also injury prone, which is just like he's too like for like. But if Iwobi starts on the right wing and they've got some absolute scrub at left back, Iwobi first half shots, baby, give me that.
I was interested in corners, but obviously the corners are outrageous in this game. They start at 11.5 juiced.
Wow. Sheesh.
You can't bet that, right? Like you just can't bet that. But if you are a brave man, this is one of those games where if you get plus money for Fulham first half corner spread, you take it.
What's the spread?
I'm finding out. I don't know if it's up yet. They don't. What's today? Wednesday?
Yeah.
We're also recording Thursday. Let's see if it's up. Oh, it's up.
Ooh, what we got? Anything spicy? 2.5.
First half is money line.
Oh, it's kind of gross.
Yeah, it is. But that'd be like -1.5. Then you take Fulham, or you take Fulham at like plus 150 to double chance.
That's a bummer.
Oh, that's boo. I might still take Fulham double chance at $1.15. Hopefully, actually, you know what? I feel like you could wait because United's at -160, which means they took the money from the open. That number could move.
Yeah. We will see. There are a couple of other games I want to talk about in the Prem, but I don't want to stay on it for too long. Newcastle against Southampton. Now, a lot of people are torn about how Newcastle in general are going to perform this season because obviously 2 seasons ago, they were fantastic, got into the Champions League, and then last season, loads of injuries, got dumped out of the Champions League, probably unfairly because of that low-key bullshit PSG pen, which I still remember. But they had injuries, which was a bummer, and they finished like 8th or 9th. I mean, they were low down. So now we're sort of back at we're in the same situation they were 2 years ago, which is no European football going on, a healthy squad for now, knock on wood, and really nothing else to focus on apart from the league and any domestic cups. And so far, they've managed to hold on to Bruno G, and they are in the closing stage. It's not like a done deal, but they're definitely pushing to sign Mark Leahy from Palace, which would be I know that
actually get some speed compared to the slow trees they have.
Yeah,
you can't defend with 10 trees.
No, and as much as I love Fabian Schär for his shots, he's not exactly a fast motherfucker.
Yeah,
Gay, however, is. So if they can get him in, that improves my outlook on them drastically. But I still think they're a potential top 5, top 6 squad.
Yeah,
and they open the season at home against Southampton, who have just come up from the Championship. Who, to be fair, I also like, but I'm worried they're just going to go straight down.
My favorite bet for Newcastle is winner without the big 6.
Ooh,
pays even money, and you're going against Villa, Brighton, Villa, who now has Champions League to juggle. Brighton, who will probably lose their identity. West Ham, who probably be 10th on the table. Crystal Palace,
that's a harsh outcome.
And will probably lose. I'm imagining they're probably going to lose Mateta in January. Fulham, Bournemouth, and I don't want to go any further. I like that a lot.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'd say Villa are probably the biggest threat to that. Villa and West Ham. Villa and West Ham. I think
Villa don't have a ton of depth either.
They've signed a fair bit of depth. I think we were talking about this in the last episode.
They signed a lot of players. I think their players will make them happy, that make them better as starters, but I don't think they're added a bunch of quality depth.
I don't know. I mean,
because then they lose. They lost too.
Yeah,
and
but
they're probably going to have Homeboy get suspended at some point for match fixing.
That's West Ham. That's Paqueta.
Oh, it's Paqueta. Oh my God, yeah.
That's the other maroon / claret team.
Yeah, other same colors. Okay, so that's fair. All right.
And they play each other this weekend, so you can't get them.
Oh my God, that's what it was. Oh my God, I was handicapping that game.
That's the next game I was going to talk about as well. It's right next there on the list.
Yeah, I do have a bet for that game.
Nice. Yeah, but I also apparently they're still gathering the evidence for Paqueta that he can probably finish the whole season.
The whole season?
Apparently. Well, do you know what's wild?
I actually am gonna I'm gonna take back my statement because
Okay.
my statement was actually for West Ham.
Okay.
West Ham's depth. They signed some new players. They didn't sign a ton that I like that are going to make much differences, but I do like them bringing in a couple of the starters that will eventually replace.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think West Ham's starting lineup is now very good, and they've at least got solid options.
Yes.
Now, I don't think Antonio is a starting striker, but if Scamacca, I'm still scarred from the last time they signed a European striker, and who is also hurt. But if for some reason Fulkrug needs a rest or he gets hurt, then Antonio's fine.
I think that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, we'll see what happens with this West Ham squad. I'm glad they made the change in the manager. I'm glad they brought in some new talent. They should be better than last year.
They're attacking midfield now with, they've Paqueta, Bowen, Somerville, and Kudus is a great option. That's a great 4 to pick 3 from.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where I had them last year, preseason. I think I had them like maybe 5th from the bottom.
Ooh.
Preseason, and I think I was a little disrespectful.
Just a little bit.
Where did they finish? Like 13th?
I don't remember.
Well, guess what? We're on the internet. They finished 9th.
Yeah, I thought it was top half. I was about to say,
God.
You said 13th, and I was like, I swear it was better than that. Yeah, top half.
I was a little disrespectful to them to start the season, and I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, and I think they've improved since then.
They've improved.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Newcastle, Southampton. Give me
my
Isak
stance
props,
of Aston Villa here. I still think they're going to it's unfortunate, but they're going to struggle with Champions League. They're a club that doesn't play Champions League, right? Like
most do. Most clubs that aren't used to Champions League that then make it do struggle. That's a very, this is something we were talking about last episode, about how Union Berlin qualified and then they were, almost relegated from the Bundesliga because they didn't adapt properly.
Yep.
Same with Stuttgart. They sold Grass to Dortmund and they haven't brought anyone in. Okay, brilliant. Now, how are we going to compete in the Bundesliga and the Champions League? That feels silly.
Yeah. We'll see, but if there's anybody who can juggle it, it's Mr. Europe himself and Unai Emery.
Yeah, but you know what Emery's good at? Fucking Europa League.
Yeah. He's waiting to get bounced out so they can go play in Europa.
Literally, that's it's so funny. I've said this a lot because a lot, people love to throw out the whole. There are somehow Arteta still has. There's a corner of the Arsenal fan base that really hates Arteta. I don't understand it, but they seem absolutely hell bent on the fact that Emery is a better manager and would be better for Arsenal. And it was just like, firstly, did you forget that he was at Arsenal? And it didn't go so well. I was like, look, no disrespect to Emery. He's a good manager, but his level is not top teams. It's decent teams that he can then take to the next level. And that next level
maximizes the most out of middling teams.
Exactly. Like he won the Europa League 3 times in a row with Sevilla. Now, when you listen to that sounds really impressive. But then if you think about it just a little bit, you realize that winning the Europa League automatically qualifies you for the Champions League, which means that after that first Europa League win, he then was knocked out of the Champions League in the group stages twice in a row.
Yeah.
So that's his level. That's his level. And that's not disrespectful. I just don't think he's better than Arteta.
No.
I think he's perfectly fine and a great manager for a club like Villa. I don't think they're going to get out of the groups in Champions League. If they do, fair play. That's very impressive, especially with a whole new format, which is going to be tricky for, it's going to be tricky for all the clubs to navigate because no one's used to it. It's the first time we're going to be having this great, big, massive, singular group. So we'll see. But I fully expect them to get bumped into a lower, to get bumped into Europa League, or I think you can actually get bumped into the Conference League depending on how it falls, but I'm not exactly sure. I need to go and remind myself how this new format works because UEFA dropped like a 5-minute explanation video on it, and It's a whole thing. It's very Super League coded, but not called the Super League because UEFA wanted to stay in
Oh my
charge.
God. Wait, I'm gonna be covering Champions League this year, and I'm gonna have to do so much research on this format.
Look, I remember enjoying it when I watched the video. I was like, okay, I can see
Yeah.
how this works. It's interesting. It
I didn't
seems
have
like it's
when
going
I
to be.
watched the video, I didn't have the light bulb go off for me.
I liked it, and it sort of takes away the whole. It gets rid of a group of death, which some people like a group of death, but also I hate the fact that you basically know the two teams that are going through in the majority of Champions League groups, and there's really nothing else to play for on the last day. Maybe there's one, maybe two groups that are still wrapped up, whereas in this new format with like the singular combined table, there's so much more going on that I think it'll make the last couple of days really, really exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, Villa, I don't really see getting out of this group. They'll get knocked down to a lower European tournament, and that's Emery's level, and I'm sure they'll be able to handle that just fine.
Yep.
We'll see. Anything else you wanted to talk about on the Newcastle-Southampton game before, I guess, we're basically talking about West Ham and Villa, but before we get into that game specifically?
What game?
The Newcastle-Southampton game.
Okay, cool. I got this uploaded. I think Southampton get absolutely blessed.
Nice.
I don't know if I would take -1.5, right? I don't think they keep a clean sheet. So I think you'd be better off if you take -1.5. You're better off taking Newcastle team total over 2.5, even money.
Ooh, that's a lot of goals, but fair enough.
Oh, I'm already waiting for the lines to come out, but I'm gonna play Alexander Isak 2+ shots on target, which should be about even money. Alexander Isak goal and Alexander Isak 2+ goals.
Love that. Love that. Love that. Love that.
He's already been circled.
Nice. Love it. West Ham Villa. Now I'm really excited for this one. Give me goals. Give me goals all day. I'm really hoping that both teams just bring out their new squads. Start, I mean, maybe the new signings haven't had proper time to integrate yet, but Fulkrug, I think, actually played for West Ham in a preseason game, I think, last week. So I'm hoping he's ready.
Yeah, I think he should be ready. I took both teams scoring over 2.5. I couldn't believe I was getting a playable price.
Yeah, I think I'm going to join you on that. That's the first thing I was thinking of.
Who Lopetegui took over for? No, who took over
David
for
Moyes.
West Ham?
Yeah, West Ham. We're talking West Ham.
No, who took over for him? Was it Lopetegui?
Yeah. It took over David Moyes.
Yep, I couldn't remember bro. There's so many new managers, and it's like they're putting them. I literally have to do this year for the first 3 weeks. Just write the manager's name next to the team, just so I can do the word association. Because it's like you're just talking, and you're like you just talked about a team, but David Moyes, David Moyes had this club. And this is not like an actual saying of me saying he's a bad manager. This is a betting perspective. He had West Ham being one of my least favorite clubs.
Yeah.
His tactics were so unbetter friendly.
It's a shame.
Yep.
It's a shame. Hey, look. Well, he won him a trophy, so they can.
Yeah.
The fans can be grateful.
For sure.
But we'll see. Yeah, give me goals in this one.
Goals.
Really don't know who's going to start for West Ham just because now they have options, which I'm not used to. But Villa, if Ollie Watkins is back and starting, which he should be because he didn't play that much in the Euros, yeah, Ollie props. And if Bailey is starting, I feel like Bailey is about to take all of Diaby's playing time. So Diaby assist to Ollie Watkins' goal. That sounds pretty sexy to me.
Yeah. It does. That sounds really sexy.
And I'm going to cook up so many shots. Any game that I like both teams to score over 2.5 in, I like shots. And this is the problem is the teams have too many fucking shooters.
My problem is when lineups come out, I'm probably already going to have a cocktail in my hand.
Nice.
I'm going on a boys trip this weekend.
Nice. God, I love that. Alrighty, a couple of other games I want to talk about in the Prem. I did leave some of them off, but I do want to talk. I've got 2 more games I want to talk about. The first one being Brentford against Palace, mostly because I am very interested to see how these teams do. Because both teams are like teams that excite me. There are certain teams in the Prem that I'm just like, I don't really care about you. Your none of your players excite me, and I like guys that shoot. Brentford and Palace both have shooters.
Yeah.
That makes me very happy. Mbuemo, Tony, Brentford just signed Fabio Carvalho from Liverpool.
Yep.
And obviously Palace. I don't know if Mateta's going to start because he was at the Olympics, but if he doesn't, they'll play Edouard, who I don't really enjoy betting on. In fact, if they do play Edouard, it just means I'm going to bet on Eze shots more.
Yes, for sure.
Because there'll be no one else. And I'm really interested to see how they price
Kamada. They signed Kamada. Palace did as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm really interested to see what his role in this Palace team is going to be, because they quite like that 3-4-2-1. So I'm interested to see if he's going to be playing as more of a centre mid, or if he's going to be part of the front three. And my dream scenario is he gets priced as a centre mid, and then I see on the weekend that he's starting in the front three. Alongside Eze, for example, Eze in the left, or Kamada on the right, and then maybe Edouard up top. And if he gets priced as a centre mid and that happens, I can see it already. That'll make me very happy if that happens.
It's funny. We have Eze 3+ shots. It's gonna be the last time we're gonna play him. We're gonna be able to play him 3+ shots. By the way.
Yeah, he's gonna be running this team.
It's gonna be gross.
I can't wait.
It'll be the last time. So.
Yeah, this is another game that I think both teams to score over 2.5 is very doable. I don't love it as much as I did for the West Ham Villa game, mostly because I want to see how these teams defend, because Palace got weirdly good at defending towards the end of last season. That being said, they are playing away from home, so you would hope that Brentford are able to get a goal, but we'll see. But it's a game that I potentially like goals in as well.
Yeah, I passed on this match because I just want to see how they line up.
That's fair.
I don't like. I'll tell bettors this, right? Like, unless you think you're going to beat a number, like you're trying to beat a number out, and I got caught doing that at the Olympics a couple times. Sometimes it's better just to wait unless you're trying to beat a number.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I mean, because you know my strategy by now. Well, it's a strategy. I love when players that play further back get started further forward, but you don't know that that's going to happen until you see the starting lineup, and even then, you might see conflicting reports in the lineup, and you've got to beat everyone else who for a fact is looking at this Premier League game. Yeah. So it's a race. It's an electric race, but you really sort of have to be dialed in when lineups drop, and it's not something you can really sort of predict ahead of time. Now, certain guys you can. Like if you think, if you want to get ahead of the game on Salah or Garnacho or Nunez, the guys that I bet on, then you can lock that in early. And I locked it in early, one, because I do think the odds are going to go down, and two, because, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, we're itching. We want to look, we want to get those bets in. Those first half shots are up, so I'm interested in getting involved. So I wanted to get that one out there early. Yeah. But a lot of times it's worth waiting for lineups. It's such a crucial part of seeing how teams are going to set up, which is fun. Yeah, that's the way it goes. And then the last game I wanted to talk about is Leicester against Spurs. This is the Monday game. Everyone fucking hates Leicester, apparently. I have seen so many people, have Leicester as their pick to come bottom of the league. And obviously, yes, it's common for the teams that come up to go down. It's very hard to sort of come up and maintain stability. Yeah. There are only a few teams have really managed that. Bournemouth's been up for a while, Wolves been up for a while. Palace, Palace, Brentford, these are all teams that, have been down in the lower leagues and have come up and sort of established a fairly regular foothold in the Prem, which I think is pretty impressive. But I'm not as low on Leicester as everyone else is, especially, they won't have him in time for Monday, but if they get that deal across the line where they sign Klozek from Leverkusen, that'd be a great signing for them up top.
Yep.
I'd love that. And Spurs, I do think Spurs are looking quite good offensively in their preseason games, but defensively, no. They were conceding like 2 or 3 goals to the K-League All-Stars. You guys have not figured it out at the back yet. So
I can't believe that when I was looking at this price, it was -120 for both teams to score over 2.5 goals.
I really, really like that. This game, another game that screams goals to me. I really don't see Leicester getting shut out at home,
I think Leicester could score twice.
I think Leicester can score twice.
2-1 for them to score twice.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I mean, depends who starts. Obviously, they've lost Dewsbury Hall. Vardy is just old. But I really like Mavididi. I like him a lot. And yeah, we'll see how they do. But Mavididi shots I'm going to be looking at as well. Give me him. I think Kulusevski for Spurs has looked really impressive in preseason.
Really impressive.
Yeah,
dude, he has.
I
feel like he when James Madison came back, Kulu was like, I need to step my shit up.
Yeah. That being said, he was getting games at striker, and I'm a little bit annoyed by the fact that Spurs have gone out and signed Solanke. I mean, I don't think it's I think it's okay signing. I think they could have got a lot more. They could have got a better player for the 65 million that they spent. But he's English. He had a really good season last season. So he fills the homegrown, fills the English slot, which is good for squad building. And he scores goals at the end of the day. He's going to be better than Richarlison. But I was bummed from a fantasy, from an FPL perspective, because Kulusevski counts as a midfielder, and I was really hoping that Spurs wouldn't bring in a striker, because then I was expecting Kulusevski to be a striker in certain games, and that would be a brilliant edge fantasy-wise if you get a striker, classified in the Indian midfield slot. Now they've got Solanke, so I don't really see that happening. But even if Kulusevski is playing his usual right wing role, I still think he's looked pretty good. So, if Spurs are rocking up there with Son on the left, Madison at the 10, Kulusevski on the right, and Solanke up top, that you should score goals with that lineup. Now,
that's gonna be a lot.
They're going to concede goals too.
They're going to concede goals
because their midfield is basically non-existent, and I don't give a shit what Spurs fans say about how good Romero is and how he's worth getting 5 red cards in a season, or how fucking good Mickey van der Ven is just because he can run fast. Your backline's not that good.
No, the backline is not that good.
Not as good as they think.
Not that good for the tactics they play either. How they play.
I'm very interested to see if Ange has learned to adapt and change game situations, or if he's going to be playing a fucking halfway line high press and just get absolutely cooked on the counter. I hope he doesn't learn, because if he doesn't learn, then Mavididi is going to be through on goal like 4 times in that game, and I am going to love it.
It's going to be beautiful.
Oh yeah, give me goals in that game.
I haven't got all the way to the window yet, but I still believe goals will happen.
Yeah. I'm with you. Even if they don't even if they did sign clause, he wouldn't be playing on Monday. So I don't see that happening, but maybe for the next week. We'll see. It all depends who Leicester run out there. But if Mavididi's in, I'm sold. All right. Well, those are the Prem games I want to talk about. As I say, we're 50 minutes into the podcast. Let's talk about some other leagues. Probably not to the same level of detail that we talked about the Prem, but let's talk about some of the other leagues.
Wait, are we giving our predictions yet?
Ooh, what, for who's going to win or for the season?
Yeah, we got winner, UCL, European. We doing that?
Yeah. Well, I feel like we sort of generally discussed, but let's do it. I'm Arsenal winning the league. Brad, what you got?
Arsenal winning the league, and it's not because Sam is my co-host.
Fair enough. UCL slots. Oh god, this is tricky. I think, and my dad just texted me about this. I think the top 3, Arsenal, City, Liverpool. Oh, I don't know how I feel about saying that, but they've looked good in preseason, so I am going to say that. And then 4th, I think, is a massive toss-up. I'm torn between Newcastle and Chelsea, but I'm going to give it to Newcastle, which I think is bold, but I am. That's what I've got, Brad. That's what I've got.
My top 4 is the exact same.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. That's hilarious.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Chelsea, so we had a little argument back and forth, but I'm really high on Newcastle this year. I remember I told you they're my winner without the big 6, and if you have them 4th, that still plays it. I'm playing both, though, to get both the value, them top 4 finish and winner without the big 6. My issue with Chelsea is they're going to have a lot of cooks in the kitchen. They're having to switch their tactical setup again. This is their 5th manager in 3 seasons. In those every manager changed tactics, every single one. So it's just a lot. It's just a lot to where I think that once things start to gel, they'll be too far out of the top 4 to be like really battling for it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they had such a great end to last season under Pochettino.
Right?
I thought he did enough to save his job,
I did
but
too.
apparently not. And now they've got Conference League, which just feels like a fucking waste of time. So
Yep.
we'll see. But God knows they've got the squad depth for it. That's for sure. European spots. If Newcastle or Chelsea don't finish in the top 4, I see why I'm finishing 5th. Man U should be behind them, and then for another European spot, should be Villa. Villa really should be being in the top 6 or 7, and then it's a bummer. There are so many good squads. It's going to be so interesting. I'm looking forward to this battle between Palace, West Ham, and Villa, who I all think that's like 6, 7, 8 right there. So
yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I got Chelsea, Villa, and then Palace, United, and who am I forgetting? Battling that, and Tottenham battling that.
Oh yeah,
I'm high on Tottenham, cautiously high on Tottenham.
How high is cautiously high?
Like I think they finished like 6.
Okay, fair enough.
That's like
you would hope so. You would hope so with the amount of money that they've spent.
It's just what's confusing me about Tottenham is like top 6 teams just don't concede. Top 5 teams don't concede, and Tottenham are going to be conceding a ton. So like, what do they do? What do they do when they're battling in those tough, grinded out matches? They concede one early, then you have a team that absolutely locks the door on them. Well, they're going to secure 1 point at home. Like that's whack.
Yeah, that's not how you get into European spots. But they were top of the league until September, so
they were. And guess what caught up to them? They just kept conceding and kept having to try to fight back from behind.
And had injuries, to be fair. I'll give them that.
Injuries.
Madison being out for a third of the season is never going to help.
It was funny too. And then when Madison came back, he was like not the same person.
Not at all. Yeah. And then relegation. Oh God, I think this is I think Wolves finally. I think this is it for Wolves. I think they finally get done for it. I don't know how they keep managing to stay up, but I really do. I don't see how Wolves can stay in the Prem, but maybe they do with some dark arts. Ipswich, I don't see staying up, and then God, that's the problem. Is like who's going to stay up out of Leicester or Southampton? I think one of them stay up, but I don't know which one yet. I haven't figured it out.
I think
Bournemouth will be down there as well.
No, actually, I think if Bournemouth can get a good replacement up top, I think Bournemouth will be like around the 11th, 12th spot.
That's a lot. With it, I mean, who are they realistically going to sign? They're linked to 2 strikers right now: Evan Nielsen from Porto and Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah.
Neither of whom I think are going to replace a Solanke 20.
I think Evan Nielsen's a good player.
I think
right, but we're not talking about a replacement that's going to bring them anywhere close to competing for something. That's their problem. No. Like, there's no option for them to bring them as a competitive team. Yeah. But I think they'll
avoid the drop. But
that's my bottom. See, I made my relegation way too early. I had Newcastle dropping, not Newcastle. Nottingham Forest. Sorry.
Oh, imagine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I could see Forest. I mean, there are so many teams that
I thought Forest were going to get more ransacked, though.
Yeah, well, they kept.
Like, I thought they were going to have way more players.
Gibbs White, amazingly.
What'd you say?
I said they've kept Gibbs White amazingly.
Yeah, they've done pretty well keeping players. I had them predicted to get the most ransacked team, and then them dropping, and so I made that prediction a little too early. I feel. I have Ipswich dropping. And then, man, I want to take Southampton so bad to stay up. So bad.
Yeah. I'd love to believe it.
So we'll see.
I don't see it. I just haven't seen them linked to anyone significant, whereas I have seen Leicester, trying to make moves to replace, because, obviously they sold Dewsbury Hall, so they got some money from that. So
yeah.
I think Leicester, out of the teams that got promoted, Leicester probably have the best chance of sticking around, which is why I'm surprised that they're like people's favorites to come bottom.
My problem with Southampton is like I have no like analytical reason why I want them to stay up, right?
Vibes.
Like how
Well, sometimes it's a vibes kind of day.
yeah. So that's probably me. I'm gonna go. We're gonna go Ipswich. We're gonna go Southampton.
Fair enough.
Yeah, let's see who's gonna be the surprise team to go down.
Wolves.
Everton.
Everton have got the most dark art. They keep staying
Yeah.
up. They keep staying up. But yeah, maybe it's their time.
Did they get another points reduction?
Oh, it's in the works. It's potentially in the works. So if they do get a points deduction, then that could obviously be the catalyst, but we won't know. We won't know for a bit. We'll see. But I think we can put a pin in Premier League, and now it's time to absolutely blitz through these other ones.
Yes.
Let's do La Liga. This one's easy because it's a pretty simple title race. Madrid or Barca, or if you're feeling spicy, Atletico. I say Madrid.
Spicy. I'm going with Barca. I'm going with Madrid to win.
You keep slipping up and you scare me. I thought you were about to go.
I'm trying to throw a little spice in it. I'm going Madrid to win. I'm actually going pretty chalk in this one, and then going chalk in Serie A as actual bets that I'm making. So
fair enough. Yeah. I mean, Madrid's squad looks great. That being said, Madrid have a pretty significant depth problem that I don't think people are talking about.
And all these injuries?
They don't talk about it because Madrid just seem to find a way, which I don't really understand how they do. But they've got like 3 healthy centre backs. They've got 3 healthy centre backs. You know, Militao and Rudiger are going to start, but God forbid one of them gets hurt, because both got hurt last season. Then you've got Alaba, who is permanently injured.
Yep.
And then after that, you've got Tchouaméni playing at centre back, and you can't even rely on your 16-year-old, the Sergio Ramos regen, because he tore his ACL in preseason.
Yeah.
Now he's done for the year. So it's just like, oh, okay, brilliant. Now you can't even play a 16-year-old. So who's left? You know, they haven't got any centre backs. Camavinga just, hurt his leg in
6 to 7 weeks
training like yesterday. So he's out for the first month and a half of the season. Now, to be fair, centre mid is probably the position I'm least, centre mid and attack. They're fine in centre mids. They've got Jude, because they're going to be playing a 4-3-3 again, I think. So Jude won't be playing as far forward. Jude centre mid. Then you've got Tchouaméni and Valverde. That's without Camavinga. Plus you've got Modric.
Yeah, it's going to be weird seeing Modric come off the bench so much.
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose so. But he's getting old.
Yeah,
he's signed a 1-year deal. So I don't know if he'll stick around after this season. I suppose we'll see. And then I guess you could play Diaz in a centre mid role. I mean, I prefer him as a right winger, but you could. And then Dani Ceballos is left.
Yeah.
Ooh. So even then, significant injury. Madrid are one or 2 injuries away from having no structure centrally.
Defensive injuries for sure.
Yeah. So we'll see, but with their front 3 of Vinny left wing, Mbappe striker, Rodrigo right wing, with Arda Güler as an option at right wing as well, I'd say their attack is doing fairly okay. Yep.
And Endrick as a replacement for whenever.
And Endrick, yeah. Well, he's still a child, so we'll see. We'll see how he does. Yeah. So yeah, but Barcelona, have not signed anyone that actually helps them. Dani Olmo does not move the needle for me on Barca whatsoever. I just watched Fermin Lopez do exactly what Dani Olmo does. Absolutely cooking at the Euros.
I love Dani Olmo coming to the team. They haven't registered him yet, though.
No, but they'll do it because La Liga will just allow Barca to do whatever they want. But no, they haven't registered him. Apparently, they haven't registered him yet.
Yeah, they're gonna bend the whip. I think they're gonna get rid of De Jong to help pay for Dani Olmo.
We'll see.
Yeah. This team is interesting. When I just look at this Barcelona team, right? Like There's just so many question marks. So many guys who have 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah. Lewis getting too old.
Yeah. Luke's getting old as dirt, and he doesn't get the service that he wants, so then he gets frustrated in games.
Yeah. And you can't play Yamal every game because he's 17 years old.
Yep.
And if they do, they will do exactly what they did to Pedri and Gavi, which is just obliterate their legs,
And then they're injured every game.
and they will get a devastating injury and be out for half the year, if not
Yep.
more. So you can't do that. So who are you playing when he's not playing? Rafinha, Ferran Torres. Okay, you've got wingers, brilliant, but I guarantee you they're still going to overplay Yamal.
Yep. Man, this team.
Not really high on them. I'm not even sure if they come second. I think Atletico could beat them to second place. Atletico made some great signings. You got
Atletico
Sorloth.
did really well.
Yeah, you got Sorloth as a striker. You got Alvarez who can play alongside him or right underneath him.
Yep.
They've still got Griezmann for now, even though he's linked to LAFC. I still think he's got a year of European footy left in him.
I think he wants to have a year left. Like, I don't think he's itching to come out.
That's fair. And then the rest of they haven't really got rid of anyone major. I mean, they sold Morato. All right, fair enough. They brought in Sorloth. That's an upgrade in my books. I'm not going to miss him at all. Big
time upgrade. I mean, you have a guy who's battling for a golden boot and a guy who, thinks he has golden boots.
Yeah, and he does not. So that's La Liga. And then, God, I just feel sorry for Girona. Girona are not. This fall off. And here's the thing: it's not even their fault. Like, I will happily blame Stuttgart for getting rid of their star striker and not bringing him in. But I can't blame Girona because they've been royally fucked over by their ownership. That's City Football Group is not a portfolio. They have all these teams, but they're not looking to grow and develop all of these teams in their portfolio. The quote unquote City Football Group portfolio exists to feed Man City. And Girona have lost Savio, who's gone to City. They didn't get any money from him because he was never their player. He belonged to Troyes in the French league, who, quote unquote, signed Savio 2 seasons ago, never played a competitive match for them. He got loaned to somewhere in the Dutch league, I forget where. Then he got loaned to Girona. And in the meantime, Troyes have suffered back-to-back relegations. They're now in the 3rd division of French soccer. Maybe they could have used someone like Savio. Maybe that would have been good. But no, City Football Group said, nope, you can't have this star player. We're going to go and develop him elsewhere because we're grooming him to go to City, at which point they paid, in quotes, 35 million, which is incredibly below market rate for a teenage Brazilian winger who has done as well as he did in La Liga. That went from Man City, City Football Group, to Troyes, City Football Group. So that just shifted money around within their own portfolio, didn't pay no actual money exchanged at all, just paid themselves. And they brought in Savio. And then Jan Couto left Girona, again, not a Girona player, belonged to Man City, who they then sold to Dortmund to fund other things. So that's two players that Girona lost that they received no money from. And then they sold Dovbyk to Roma. Now they did get some money for that, they needed to sell, they needed to capitalize on, a high profile signing who was challenging for the Golden Boot because they lost Savio and Couto and got no money for that. So fuck City Football Group. That's the energy that this podcast started with. And Girona are going to be absolutely fucked. They haven't got a striker. Who's left? Stuani? How old is Stuani? He's not a starting striker. He doesn't deserve to be a starting striker. It's going to be the Ukrainian, what's his name? Sinikov? Or I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the first 3 letters are definitely TSI. It's going to be him on the right wing.
So who starts up top?
No, well, he does a bit of both. He's flexible. But he's a right winger for Girona. Him, and then they've got Stuani. And they've lost their Golden Boot challenging striker. And who actually did win the Golden Boot? Did Dovbyk win the Golden Boot?
Yeah, he won it.
Their Golden Boot striker, their incredibly creative teenage Brazilian winger, and their rock solid right wing back. Okay, brilliant. They're gone. They've got about 30 million for what should bring in 100 million. That's how much those players are worth collectively. They'll see none of that money, and it's all to benefit Man City.
Yeah.
So I feel sorry for them. They're not going to.
Yeah.
They'll get no help, no cash injection from City Football Group because they're too busy trying to prepare for to pay their army of lawyers for this upcoming court case with the Premier League, and the fall off is going to be horrific.
Yeah.
And that's my City Football Group rant. My second one of the podcast.
It's gonna be tough. Like looking at the Girona, like I already knew this was going to be a bad thing for them. They were going to. You just felt that once these players left, they're not going to replace them, at least not adequately replace them, and they're going to burn in hell.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a real shame, but that's the reality of the setup. And they play Real Betis on Thursday, which will be today when the podcast goes up, and the opening day of La Liga. And if Isco is healthy and starting. Yeah,
that's
all the day.
Done on target, baby.
Yeah, I hope that prop is still a wagon because my goodness, it was a wagon beforehand.
Bro, such a wagon.
So good last season.
I remember I rode that bad boy to the end, baby, till he got hurt. I was like, oh my god, I'm still on this prop. I bet it again. He's hurt now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But outside of that, I'm not even sure if I want to talk about the games themselves because it's just like, okay, Barcelona are playing. Give me if Fermin Lopez isn't starting, I don't care. He's like the one shining light in this Barca squad that I love, and there's a good chance he doesn't start because he was just balling out in the Olympics. So
your love for Fermin Lopez shots is like my love for Ferran Torres shots.
Yeah. So Barca away, Madrid play away at Mallorca. Oh my god, and the sirens are back. God, the city that never sleeps, right here. But so Madrid play Mallorca away from home. They're obviously going to be playing probably quite a few players in this Super Cup that's about to happen for us. So God knows who they roll out. And then I think the only real really fascinating, interesting game is Villarreal against Atletico, which is the later game.
Yep.
But apart from that, let's see how the starting lineups are. Any games that you want to talk about in particular?
No, I'm hold on one second, sorry. I feel like just like looking at some of these numbers, like I'm probably make a parlay because like the Barcelona line is -140, but fuck, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. No, yeah, it's -145, but I feel like Barcelona on the road, this game's gonna go one or two ways. It's gonna be a horrible game until the 90th minute, 89th minute, we get a Barca goal. Or it's going to be both teams to score at a good price. They're -145 to win. I was incorrect.
All right. Yeah. And then you hope Barcelona get the job done. And then when you bet on their money line, they draw or lose stupidly. And then when you fade them and take the double chance for the team at home, they win like 2 or 3-0. And it's just like, fuck you. Yep. Fuck you, you horrific.
So annoying.
Cheating, dirty club. You're almost as bad as City. Absolute wankers. Yeah.
I think I would take Barcelona team total over 1.5 in that game, actually. Because I think
if all the big boys are starting, I could be down with that.
Yeah. I think they'll try to push a little.
Yeah. All righty, enough of this slow shit Spanish league. Let's move to the exciting stuff. Serie A.
Oh my god.
Brad, this is definitely more your area of expertise. So talk me through who you think is winning this season. Because I tell you what, as much as I love to shit on the slow pace of play in the Serie A, it actually ends up being rather close. Now, last year's a bit of an exception because Inter just fucking obliterated everybody. But the season before that, it was really close. So, fair enough.
Yep, Inter wins. I'm going to lay the juice for Inter to win this.
Okay.
They're
how juicy is juice?
-130. They are light years better than anybody you could predict to come second.
That's fine.
they did a good job retaining their squad, which was really nice.
Yeah, Lautaro locked down until 2029. It's a
Yeah.
big one.
Really massive keeping Lautaro in there. It's funny because like normally when you're in a good Italian squad, right? They bypass Inter Milan. They go play Juventus. They go play at Milan, and that's no longer the case. This good Italians want to go play at Inter Milan. They win. Top four is going to be tough. I think Juventus finished second. I don't agree with Opta. Opta had Atalanta, but how long is Scamacca going to be out for Atalanta? We'll see. No Coop Miners on that team. I think Juventus, one thing that is good about Juventus implementing a new system here is they already had the good structure, especially defensively. They were on like a 9-match unbeaten streak, which kind of they weren't winning, right? They weren't winning, but they weren't losing. They weren't conceding. Teams that I would kind of have towards the drop. I actually think Fiorentina have a good chance to finish in the top 5 this year. I think they finished 8th last year.
Oh, now sell me on that, because I heard rumors that Nico Gonzalez is leaving.
Yeah. Do you know how many rumors we're hearing on this team? I think they have a good squad. Listen, with this Fiorentina team, you have to talk about their ability to score, their ability not to concede. They're not a team where I'm going to say they're going to be the Italian shutout. They're not going to do that. But they've improved in the concession area while steadily boasting goals. I think that's going to play well. When we think about Fiorentina, let's go 3 years ago. They were guaranteed to concede every game they played, right? Then 2 years ago, started to clean up a little bit more. Last season, I think I have to look that number up, but they conceded in the 40s when they were normally like a 50 team. If they continue to clean up defensively, they're going to push it. I have a drop for Lazio losing Immobile. Roma will probably still be that. Excuse me.
You don't trust Tati? Don't trust Tati Castellanos, my NYCFC goat?
I think I think Roma will still be up there. Bologna is going to suffer a massive drop. So then that gives you 2 teams that Bologna and Lazio who I think are going to drop in form. When you talk about Bologna, what they did, 68 points last season. Now they're losing their manager, now losing their best defender, now losing midfielder. It's going to take a lot for them to stay inside the top 5 while playing a Champions League football. So that just gives more room for Fiorentina. Napoli, dumpster fire. Might be selling one of their players. We'll see. I think it's all but done.
Osimhen's definitely gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's all but done.
They haven't even found a guy. They haven't even found a team that they want that can buy him.
Be playing. I don't think they're going to play him, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think they're playing him until he sells them.
That's what I'm saying. He's not even going to play.
Yeah. So like it's a good year. It's a good year to come up and try to get some European qualification this year. Just you finish in the top 6. Go ahead, Fiorentina. It's your year to shine. But you have to Nico Gonzalez. Excuse me.
Fair enough. What about the games this weekend?
Oh, I didn't even look at that slate yet.
The games that I think are potentially interesting. Well, you've got the opening. They open on Saturday. We've got Genoa at home against Inter. We have Milan against Torino. Then we've got Verona, Napoli, Cagliari, Roma, Lecce, Atalanta, and then the Monday game is Juve against Como.
Yep. Nothing on here. Any of these matches none of these matches I were.
Is Inter moneyline even remotely bettable away from home against Genoa?
Is Napoli? You said wait, who's playing Genoa?
Inter away against Genoa.
I did look at that game. It's -175, and then but you could play it. I think them to win and under 4.5 is playable. If I remember correctly. Yeah, them to win and under 4.5 was -120.
Fair enough.
That's a really good line.
I like that. I like that a lot. I do like this Milan squad. I mean, my top 3.
Inter AC Milan.
Yeah, Inter top, and then AC Milan or Juventus second and third. That's, I'm not really sure who's going to come second at that point. It's fairly irrelevant. You're in Champions League no matter what.
I like this AC Milan squad a lot.
I like this Milan squad. They've got a bunch of ballers that I really like, and I'm really excited to see how Juventus play as well with their new manager. So, going to be interesting. Milan at home against Torino should be a good game for them. I would hope so.
It's gonna be fun to see Morata back in Italy. It's gonna be really fun to see him back in Italy because you remember he played for Juventus.
Mm-hmm. He's played for fucking everyone. My goodness, this guy has been passed around more than the town. You know what, Brad?
Yeah.
He's been everywhere. He's like Lukaku. He's a money laundering scheme. He's not actually an asset that teams want to sign. He's just a way to move money around.
Yep. Let's see. Was there anything else on this slate that was interesting? This is an interesting line. Lazio being -1 versus Venezia.
Genuinely, the only Lazio. Now, to be fair, it's probably because I didn't like Immobile, but Lazio are one of those teams that I just generally can't stand betting on. But if Castellanos is now the starting striker, now that Immobile's gone, I love that for him. I'm biased, obviously, as an NYCFC fan. I love him,
and he made you a lot of money.
He won us the cup, and he got us some money. But then again, we're part of City Football Group, so like, what the fuck does making that money even mean?
Yeah.
It's hilarious that I go on my City Football Group rants, and then I'm just like, oh, also I support NYCFC. It's because they're my local team, I promise.
I wonder if they're actually going to regularly start Gustav.
I was about to say, what the fuck is the name of that right winger? Isaacson, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looked really good towards the end of last season, and if they start, have they still got Felipe Anderson? Did they keep him around?
Yeah.
If Felipe Anderson's almost always even money for 2 shots, and if he's got a good matchup, especially at home,
Felipe Anderson, he left.
Oh fuck! Where did he go?
Palmeiras.
What the fuck? I guess he's Brazilian. I guess he went home.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, scrap that. Gustav Isaacson it is. He's going to be my new guy. He'll be one of those guys that's always around. His shot's going to be 1.5, and he'll be sweaty because of Serie A pace of play, but he should hit it, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Anything else you want to talk about in Serie A, Brad?
No.
All righty. Well, that takes us to Ligue 1. And I guess the question is, are PSG going to be without Mbappe for the first time in God knows how long? Are they going to win the league? To me, short answer is yes, they're PSG.
Yeah. They PSG, they dominate France. They got Donnarumma still, so they're not going to be conceding a ton of goals.
Yeah. And they're still technically in the race for Osimhen.
Yes, still technically. They're in the race for a lot of people. I looked at their transfers the other day. Let me see. Transfer rumors. Where is it? I don't have it right here. Here we go. Oh, they took it down?
Oh.
Is that because the season starts this week? They have now it's empty.
What do you mean it's empty?
Like where you look up their rumors on Transfer Market?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Anyways, this team's still from a standpoint, they're still stacked as hell.
Yeah, exactly. Should be them, and they open the season against Le Havre, who I'm amazed stayed up, but they managed it. And then we have, I tell you what, well, the team I'm probably most excited about, well, 2 teams I'm excited about. One is Marseille. They start the season against Brest, always a hilarious one. You can never go wrong with a good little Brest. But Marseille have got I'm finally broken, Brad. Marseille have got De Zerbi in charge. They have brought in Wahi from, I forget where he was, but he was a great striker, and it was a great striker in Ligue 1. They've brought in Greenwood, and in general, I'm interested to see how they play. You know, how De Zerbi ball sort of translates to Ligue 1. So I'm excited to see that, and then I'm really excited for.
I'll say this: it will no longer be those Marseille matches where you're like, this is a lock on both teams to score in over 2.5, and then all of a sudden Marseille have only taken 4 shots, and then you're in the 70th minute 0-0, escaping to live bet something because you're in such pain.
Well, Aubameyang's gone, so it's going to be really interesting to see how they adapt to that because he was such a focal point for goals and assists, honestly.
Yep.
So interesting to see how they adapt. But, it's a new time at the club, new manager, some new signings, like a really fresh attack, a completely different looking attack with no Aubameyang and then bringing in Wahi, bringing in Greenwood. So really interesting to see how they look. And then the other team that I'm really excited about is Lyon. And I just really hope that they play my boy Gifter Orban a lot more because they signed him in January last season. Didn't really play him that much. He was really sort of coming off the bench or he was starting in the French Cup games. And, Lacazette has still got it, but
Yeah,
I just don't think he deserves to be starting that many games over a young, very talented, very promising striker in his early 20s.
I can agree with that.
So I hope he gets more playing time. I've loved him for a while. I ladded his goals when he was playing for Ghent, and that was like my first big Twitter ticket. I think his hat trick was 140 to 1, and I laddered his goals, and he scored a hat trick in 4 minutes, which was just gorgeous.
You know what we should talk about?
Tell me.
We should talk about top goal scorer for Lyon because this is
wide
anybody's
open.
race.
It is wide open now. I'd have to go and shop it around. I'd have to go and check it out. But who's like the top 3 if you've got it up?
Yep, Gonçalo Ramos,
right?
PSG, Jonathan David, Lille, Lacazette, Lyon.
I would not put money on Lacazette.
No, I mean you'd probably be smart to take Ramos, but who's gonna end up taking the PKs for them?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. What a good question. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out when they finally get one. But without Mbappe, it's gonna be really interesting to see how that team just plays in general.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm looking forward to it.
This is crazy.
Crazy. You getting excited?
I'm trying to figure out what would I bet. What would I bet here? No, because Lacazette will be there. Man, I can't find anything that I would see value in, like something that's straightforward.
Yeah.
What if this? Hear me out.
Okay.
Mason Greenwood at 14 to 1.
It's way too low for what I would want.
Too low? You'd want 30?
Yeah, I'd need much more than that because he's such a pass first kind of guy.
Yeah, but he's playing in a good system for scoring goals.
He is. I would look at what's Wahi priced at.
I think his price sucks. Oh no, 20 to 1.
That's so much better. I don't see how Greenwood would score more than their striker would, unless they have Greenwood on pens, and even then, I still don't think that's worth the price.
Pens, right?
Yeah. We'll see. Anyway,
that's a fun market. I'm going to dive deeper into that tomorrow.
Nice, fair enough. Now, we haven't touched on the Bundesliga, but that's because the Bundesliga starts next week, so we'll table our Bundesliga discussion for them because they are a week behind everyone else, even though the German Cup is going on this weekend. So if you care about the German Cup, then you go check it out. But I do not have time to go and dig into these D3 teams unless it's like Saarbrücken, the team that beat all those they beat Bayern and they beat everyone else and then into did they make it to the final in the grand scheme? I think they did make it to the final, or at least the semis.
What's funny about those freaking...
But outside of that, don't really care about the German Cup. Wow, well, do you know what? I think we knew this was going to be our longest episode. We had a lot to talk about. We knew this was going to be a big one, but luckily we're putting it out, way in advance. It's going to be up on Thursday morning. So unless you're really hankering to bet on the La Liga matches on Thursday, which personally I am not, you have plenty of time to listen through this before the Friday and, more importantly, the weekend action. So you get bonus Sam and Brad time. But yeah, anything else you want to talk about, Brad? Or are we good to wrap this one up?
I think we're good. I'm still looking at these golden boot scores.
Go check it out in your own time, Brad. Yeah. That's some spicy shit that we don't have time to delve into.
Oh my god! Wow, Marseille top 4 is a good bet.
Oh yeah,
right.
Just throwing out gems on the fly. You love to see it.
I need to go back. I'm gonna come up with a bet because we'll do the work.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's wrap it up. Brad, anything you want to plug before we say goodbye?
yeah, go ahead and check out my work on NBCSports.com. My Premier League previews are out. We should have a couple more coming out before Friday.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And don't forget Twitter.
Oh, and follow me on X. Oh my God, I totally forgot, at Mr. Brad Thomas. And guys,
See, I got
make
you.
sure you rate, subscribe, like, tell us how beautiful we are.
Absolutely. Follow the podcast. 5-star review if you're feeling generous, and hopefully you can find it in your hearts to feel generous, because we are providing a lot of beautiful content for you. You can follow me on Twitter at FIFA Brit. Stay tuned, because all of my plays will be in the Gold Boys Discord. It's a brilliant time to sign up. Baseball looks good, and soccer is about to get back into full swing. But if you aren't in the Discord, you can catch my free plays on my Twitter, and I will also have breakdown videos on the Gold Boys YouTube channel. Just look up Gold Boys Network and you'll find them. Thank you again to the Gold Boys Network for continuing to sponsor and host this podcast. We love you greatly for allowing us to keep talking absolute shenanigans for, God, an hour and a half now. So thank you, and shout out Gold Boys for letting us continue to do all this fun stuff. Brad, it's been a pleasure talking with you. I cannot wait for this new season. If you can't tell, we've been yapping for 90 minutes. So the excitement is real. And God, when they finally post all those first half shots lines, I'm going to be sweating like an absolute maniac. Good to see.
I'm going to be a beer deep. I'm ready for lineups to become out.
Yeah, we are so close indeed. Alrighty, Brad, I will catch you in the next one next week. And to everyone listening, I love you all, and I will see you later. Peace.